Hello and welcome to the September 18th update for the Lifeboat Academy. There, I even got the date right and everything. So welcome to the September 18th update for the Lifeboat Academy. And as is our custom, we start with a land acknowledgement. And we start with the land acknowledgement because, in the words of Norm Leach, the land was here before we were. The land will continue to be here after we are gone. Everything that we ever experience and use and see, touch, feel, taste comes from the land and will return to the land. And so in acknowledging the land, we acknowledge our interdependence and our interconnection. And not just with the geography, but with all of our relations and all of the web of being. And we owe a deep debt of gratitude to indigenous cultures of the world who have maintained that knowledge and are willing to share it with us at a very troubled time in global history when we need to remember those that lesson of interdependence and interconnection. And so we acknowledge both the wisdom-keeping cultures of indigenous people and their generosity in sharing it with us. And we acknowledge our own obligation to use that information responsibly, to actually make changes, to integrate that into the way that we live. And in particular, I acknowledge the Wasanic on whose traditional lands we live, work, and play, where we are hoping to establish our connection to the land and to our neighbors, to all of our relations, human and more than human. And so with that, we start by covering the big picture. Whoops. Why are we here? What is it about the Lifeboat Academy that seems important? And the circle, as I'm seeing it today, is Roland, Ronnie, Jen, me. And so we each get a chance to go around and tell you a little bit about why we think this is something important for us to be working on and what it is we're actually trying to do together. So Roland, over to you. You're muted.
There are many parts to the Lifeboat Academy that are really interesting. Right now, my focus and my curiosity is around the purchase of the land and how that is developing. And I've forgotten who the next person is.
Ronnie.
It's me.
Ronnie.
Yeah, we are creating a campus to serve as a model for a living lab, a regenerative learning center where anyone can come and experience living in closer relationship to the land and to each other, to all our relations, and hopefully co-creating a way forward through whatever might be coming down the pike. Over to Jen.
Thanks, Ronnie. Hi, I'm Jen, joining you from Sedeas, also known as South Pender Island. And we are here creating a culture based on the 7 principles of sociocracy. And that can be really challenging sometimes as we're growing and expanding. And so sociocracy 3.0, navigating the tensions, helps us through that. And we'll share a little bit more about how you can join us in that later. And I'm most curious about how we extend that out into the community. Over to you, Ben.
Yeah, I think, and we had a question too about who are these updates for and who are we talking to? And I guess we are trying to, as Jen is saying, grow that community of people who are willing to roll up their sleeves and actually address the multiple crises that we face right now. To look with our eyes wide open about where we are in climate collapse and societal collapse, looking around at a lot of the wobbles that are going on out there, and actually making the choice to address it and get to work and figure out how do we work well together. And our belief is, my belief is, that collaboration is a natural human gift. That's how our species has survived as long as we have, has been to work well together and cooperate and collaborate. But lately, I think we've all forgotten a lot. We've had some of that beaten out of us because of how our economic and political systems work. And so what we're trying to do here is create the environment where people can rediscover a way of working together and working with nature, the land, that is in harmony and right relations, is healing. And at the very least, we let go of our destructive tendencies and figure out a new way forward. So that's what we're trying to do and why we're trying to do it. And today we want to go over a little bit, give you an update on what we're doing. And one of the ways that we talk about the work here, we talk a lot about lifeboats, and a lifeboat is really just a local place-based resilience network leaning into the relationships that are already there in your life to figure out how you can work to mutual benefit, so we all are more resilient and can face into and thrive even with whatever's coming down the pike. But we also recognize that none of us can go it alone, either individually in our own local area or globally, that we need to figure out how we can keep all of those lifeboats linked together so that we are sharing information, resources, moral support, and best practices, anything that we can to help us all thrive as we move forward. And how that looks in the specifics, I will pass over to Roland.
Well, and this is what I was curious about this week. I'm always curious about this, but in particular this week, it's establishing the first campus for the Lifeboat Academy at what we call the Spalding Valley Farm. So we are in the process of fundraising to purchase the property. We have with the generosity of the seller, Stephanie, and with the help of our realtors at Coho BC, we have an extension on the final subject of removal to October 31st, and an extension for the closing date to January 8th. And tonight we'll be hosting the Stewardship Council meeting to talk that through, and hopefully next week we will have more information on this. So back to you, Ben.
Yep, and just a reminder that the Stewardship Council meeting is open to anybody who'd like to attend. And it's a Zoom meeting, so it's easy. It's tonight at 7 p.m. Pacific time. And if you are interested, just shoot us an email and we'll send you the Zoom link. So everyone is welcome. One of the other things that we've been working on kind of in parallel with our effort to secure the property here has been to develop some partnerships with some pretty impressive organizations so that we can spread the word about what we're doing, and also so that we can demonstrate the values that we are hoping to bring into the mix. So we've been working with a project called Regenerate Cascadia that is a collaboration between the Design School for Earth Regeneration and the Cascadia Department of the Bioregion, spearheaded by Claire Atwell and Brandon Letzinger. And they're fast and furious work happening. The Regenerate Cascadia project involves a tour of 14 communities throughout Cascadia in the month of October, and then a 10-day online summit early in November. And right now there's a lot of work getting those local communities ready for being able to host the events. And I'm working very closely with the organizers to make sure that we can find out what the needs are of all of the local project partners who are, in our lingo, lifeboat builders. And that's part of the reason why we're excited to be involved is the Regenerate Cascadia is bringing together lifeboat builders around Cascadia and figuring out how we all stay linked together. They call them regenerative projects, and we call them lifeboat builders, but it's the same thing. And so we've been working with them to try to provide some support, and we're getting ready for our own stop on the tour, which will be October 25th, 26th. One of the things that we did this week was work through a list of some of the physical improvements that we want to have in place so that we can give people a little bit of a taste of what might be possible here. And also in doing that, we've been opening up a lot of channels where we're getting interest from a wide variety of lifeboat builders, including coming through the Earth Regenerators Network, who are sort of affiliated, and the project partners. So that's all progressing very quickly, and it's one of those, there's 1,000 tasks. None of them are quite big, but there's a lot to do. Over to you, Ronnie.
So introducing our brand new office hours and an updated navigation schedule, which we said we would get out in September, and it has happened. So I am proud of us. So our new office hours are actually technically starting this morning. We will be having office hours followed by, office hours following our Monday weekly update. So after this will be available until noon if anyone wants to log on and get some time with us to ask questions, talk some things through. And then Tuesday and Wednesdays will alternate. So if there's a Tuesday navigation session in the evening, the next morning will be in office hours and vice versa every week. So there's 2 different navigation session times that we have available, 7 p.m. and on Tuesdays, 10:30 a.m. on Wednesday mornings. And then Thursday and Friday we'll have office hours at 3 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. So these are an opportunity to ask questions and get feedback or on anything related to lifeboat building. If you're curious about investing in the Lifeboat Academy, that's also an opportunity to get some information. And it just generally anything else you might be curious about or interested in getting involved in the Lifeboat Academy, we are available. We also did a bunch of help desk updates this past week. We've reformatted how things are presented on the help desk, and we're in the process of adding a bunch of materials and how-tos and articles, and also the webinars that we offer. So folks can access the help desk and watch our how to build your own lifeboat webinar on your own time. So we don't have to worry about scheduling or can you make it. You can do the webinar yourself, and then you can access each of the steps of the webinar. We'll have more how-tos and articles. So we have a ton of materials and information that we've written over years, and we're in the process of slowly putting them on the help desk. And we're trying to be really methodical and intentional about how it's laid out so that it's easy to use and make sense. So if you're starting to peruse the help desk and you have any questions or feedback, right at the top of the help desk, you can create a new ticket, which sends us an email. So you can ask a question or leave a comment, and we will be sure to get back to you as soon as we can. Back to over to Jen.
Right. Yes, the podcast and presentations continue. There was the second podcast recording session this past week with Andy Wildman for him to build his own lifeboat. And we're also nearing the final version of the property map. Can't wait to share that with you and see the whole vision of what we have planned here for the property at Spalding Valley Farm. And we're still setting up the meeting with David. His schedule's been so busy. We're trying to get that coordinated so we can get a full website set up for you. In the meantime, we have several links that you can use to connect with us to the help desk, to the information sessions, and so on. You'll always see that in the video description below. And also, you can also email us for anything that you might need.
email at friends@lifeboat.academy. Easy to remember. So what are we going to be working on this week? Well, tonight is the Stewardship Council fall planning meeting. I think we mentioned 2 updates ago that we did a lot of work. We use a fixed process of creating seasonal plans to guide our work as part of our sociocracy framework. And we propose things and we bounce them off of our Stewardship Council, who act as the representatives of the commons as a whole, so that we try to get as much perspective on our choices and our priorities as possible. And that's what's going to happen tonight. Is we'll be walking through our seasonal plan for the fall and looking for feedback from our trusted partners. Again, everybody is invited, encouraged to attend. We're also going to be continuing, as Ronnie was saying, there's a lot of work to be done on getting the help desk set up and polished, and we're looking forward to opportunities to trying it out, to helping you by making sure that the materials are available. And of course, continuing to refine our CRM system so that we can track the many relationships that are emerging out of the work that we're doing. And of course, continuing our work around outreach, following up on leads, and also the Regenerate Cascadia tour planning, and all of the different things that are emerging out of that. And we're excited that today Sandra is going to be arriving for her gun boot camp. So we're really excited to have some time where we can be working with Sandra and testing out our systems again to see how effective we can be at bringing people in, and just seeing what the possibilities are with that relationship. So I believe that finishes up the update. I will do one last whip around the circle just to make sure that we haven't forgotten anything. And while we're doing that, I'll leave you with our contact information. You can find us on email, on even though we don't have a website up, we do have a web page, lifeboat.academy, and of course on pretty much any social media that you might be interested in, you can find us at Lifeboat Academy. So with that, I'll do once around. Is there anything else that we need to let people know? Anything we've forgotten? Roland, over to you.
Well, thanks for listening and watching. And I encourage you to let other people know, give them our link, and encourage them to come visit us. Over to Ronnie.
I have nothing to add. Just want to thank, I know we have a few loyal fans out there who watch these updates every week. So thank you so much for doing that, and for all your support and for your feedback, because it's super, super valuable. Over to Jen.
Yeah, ditto. We appreciate you, and we'd also love to hear any questions and comments you have, so you can drop them down below or email us at friends@lifeboat.academy, and we'll get back to you. Ben.
I think, yeah, ditto all around. Really grateful for how people are showing up, and really excited about office hours. And so we will widely publicize them. We are trying to make everything as easy and painless as possible to help you get more involved in what we're doing, to help you start building your own lifeboat or growing the network that you've already started. So really hoping that people take advantage of the office hours, and I'm looking to see who might just stop by. And that's also acceptable, even if you don't have any questions, but you just want to check in and see how we're doing, stop by office hours. We'd love to see you. So I think that's it for this week, and we'll have this up and loaded onto YouTube very shortly. And like Ronnie was saying, thanks to all our loyal fans, and we look forward to connecting with you. Bye-bye.